Okay, imagine this for a second. You're deep in this ancient, really quiet forest, peaceful. You can almost smell the damp earth. But then, out of nowhere, instead of just like birdsong, you hear this voice. And it's not just any voice. It's giving you some pretty sharp advice. That's kind of what we're diving into today. We're looking at these old Buddhist stories, traditional narratives about monks in forests in ancient Kosala. And they have these encounters with forest deities, devatās they're called. Our mission really is to see what wisdom we can pull from these, unexpected chats. Insights about spiritual practice, self-awareness, maybe where guidance pops up when you least expect it. So let's unpack this. It sounds like a really unique set of slides. What's the core idea here?
Well, what's really interesting is how these devatās consistently show up. They're not just random spirits. They're more like spiritual guardians or maybe catalysts. They appear right when a monk seems to be, drifting off course, even just a little bit. And the texts always say they're compassionate, anukampika, they wish the monks well. But their advice, it's often sharp, poetic, delivered in verse, like a wake-up call.
Right, like a spiritual alarm clock, but way more poetic.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into some specifics. It seems like they were really tuned into how the mind can wander, even out there in the woods. Can you give us an example?
Yeah.
Like a monk trying for solitude, but his mind's just elsewhere.
Oh, definitely. There's one story from the Viveka Sutta about a monk who went deep into the forest for solitude, right? But his mind was totally caught up in household matters, Gehenna-site, and just unwholesome thoughts, papake kusevidatak, the bad stuff.
Even out there. Wow.
Yeah. So the devata comes along and basically says, look, you wanted solitude, you came to the forest, but your mind's still running around outside. Atate mano nikarati bahita.
Uh-huh.
Correct.
Very. And the advice was, give up your desire for people, jano janas me vinaya suchanda, then you'll be happy, free from passion, like a bird shaking off dust. Simple, but deep.
Okay. And this wasn't a one-off thing.
Not at all. There's another one, the Ayoniso Sutta. This monk was plagued by thoughts of, lust, ill will, and harm. Kamavitaka, baipadavitaka, vyasavitaka, the classic hindrances. And the devata pinpointed the problem. You're being eaten up by these thoughts because of unwise attention. Ayoniso manasikara sofitaka hijasi.
Unwise attention, so not paying attention the right way.
Exactly. The solution wasn't to just fight the thoughts head on, but to cultivate yoniso anavisintaya, wise attention, specifically focus on the good stuff. The teacher, the dhamma, the sangha, your own virtues. Find joy and peace there, That redirects the mind.
Okay, so vigilance over thoughts is key.
Well,
but what about actions? Like monks just slacking off or maybe doing things they shouldn't, even small things. Did the devata step in then too?
Oh, absolutely. They didn't miss much. The Upanasutta talks about a monk who was just, caught sleeping during the day.
Taking a nap. Seems harmless enough.
Not to the devata. The challenge was immediate, quite stark. Get up, monk. Why are you sleeping? What good is sleep for someone who's afflicted, wounded by a dart? Aturasa hikanita salavidesarupato.
Ouch, a dart, like the dart of suffering.
Precisely. A reminder of why he took up the practice in the first place, the urgency of it. It was about reigniting that effort. And then you have the story of Venerable Nagadatta. That's a really telling one.
Nagadatta, what was his issue?
He was described as a divalakari, wandering around too much, and saserho gahari samanasukatuko, basically getting way too involved with lay people, sharing their ups and downs.
Blurring the lines a bit too much.
Yeah, losing that monastic focus. The Devata's warning was pretty heavy. It said, I fear for Nagadatta, called him too bold, bound to families, and warned he might fall under the sway of death, the ultimate destroyer. Maheva, makuranyo, balavato, antakasa vazamesiti.
Wow, death itself. That's serious. It really paints complacency as dangerous.
It does. And speaking of high standards, you have to mention the lotus flower story. That one really drives home the subtlety.
Yes, the Padumapapa Sutta. Remind us what happened there.
Okay, so this monk, maybe just absent-mindedly, smells a lotus flower that hadn't been offered to him. Seems like nothing, right?
Yeah, smelling a flower.
But the Devata immediately pops up and accuses him. You're a thief of scent! Gandhathanosi marasa.
A thief of scent. Seriously.
Seriously. The monk tries to defend himself. Hey, I didn't pick it, I didn't break it. But the Devata wasn't having it. The point made was that for someone truly striving for purity, even a hair's breadth of evil appears like a cloud. Vabgamata papasa apamata bakayatiti.
Wow. That puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
A hair's breadth. It really forces you to think about those tiny little lapses we might just brush off.
Exactly. It asks, are we ignoring our own thefts of scent, however small?
Okay, so that covers internal thoughts and subtle actions. What about just spending too much time chatting with lay people? Was that also a problem?
Yes, definitely a recurring theme. Even Venerable Ananda, who was, the Buddha's attendant, a major figure,
Right.
he got called out in one text for being ativla jisanyunati bahulo, basically too tangled up in conversations with lay followers. The devatās question was brilliantly simple. What will worldly chatter do for you? Just a nudge. Go meditate.
Straight to the point.
And another one, the Kulagaran Sutta. A monk got really involved, a Tivalaya Ajoganapato, with one particular family, so the devatā actually appeared as the lady of the house.
Whoa, tricky.
Right. And warned him about gossip. People are talking about you and me. Janasagama mantenti manya katanyaka kimantanti. Told him to be like a wandering deer, just endure sound, stay detached.
So keep your distance. Maintain focus.
If we sort of connect the dots here, what all these stories show is that spiritual purity isn't just about the big things. It's this constant, really careful watching over tiny thoughts, habits, attachments. Even when you think you're alone in the forest. The devatās are like an external conscience, reflecting back potential slip-ups.
A spiritual mirror, almost. So beyond those personal mental struggles, what about challenges tied to the monastic life itself? Like dealing with loneliness, or maybe messing up when teaching?
Good question. Yes, those came up too. The Kaspakakata Sutta has this really vivid bit about teaching. Venerable Kaspagoda was trying to teach someone the text calls a sutta, a foolish person, and doing it a kala at the wrong time.
Okay, so bad timing, wrong student.
Pretty much. And the devatās analogy was, well, blunt. He hears but doesn't get it, looks but doesn't see. Even if you hold up 10 lamps, Kasapa, he won't see forms because he hasn't got eyes.
Wow. That's a powerful lesson on knowing when teaching just won't work. Maybe the student isn't ready.
Exactly. It suggests there's a limit, a need for readiness on the student's part.
Makes sense. And loneliness. That must have been tough out there.
Oh, yeah. There's a great story of Vajjaputta Sutta. A monk near Vesālī hears festival music, all lively and fun, and he starts feeling sorry for himself, thinking, here we are, alone in the forest, like abandoned logs. Who could be more miserable than us on a night like this? Kosunama amhehi papioti.
I can totally imagine feeling that.
Right. But the devatā flips the script immediately. Hey, lots of beings envy you. Like those suffering in hell envy those heading to heaven. Tasate bahuka pihaintenerekavya sagagaminanti.
Whoa, talk about perspective. What feels like deprivation is actually a huge privilege.
Precisely. It reframes the whole experience of solitude.
And speaking of perspective, wasn't there a story where a devatā and a monk saw the same exact scene totally differently?
Yes, that's the Majjhantika Sutta. Midday in the forest, birds are settling down, it gets quiet. The devatā finds the silence, Bhayapibatima, frightening. But the monk finds it Ratipagatima, delightful.
Same forest, same time, totally different feelings.
It perfectly shows how your inner state just colors everything you perceive. One person's peace is another's fear.
It really seems like a constantly shifting path.
Yeah.
And what about study? Was neglecting study something they commented on?
There's an interesting one on that, the Sajja Sutta. A monk used to be really into Sajjahaya recitation, studying the teachings, but then he just stopped, got quiet. The devatā asks him, basically, why'd you quit the Dhamma that used to bring you joy?
So why did he stop?
His answer is fascinating. He says his earlier devotion to study was only yava viragana samagamimha until he encountered detachment. Now, he says, Anyanya nikapanamahu santoti, what is seen, heard, or thought is abandoned through knowledge for peace.
So, he'd gone beyond just book learning, reached a deeper state.
That's the implication. That direct insight had kind of superseded the formal practice of recitation for him. His practice evolved. So yeah, these stories really cover the whole range, not just obvious temptations, but the nuances of teaching, handling solitude, even how your own practice changes over time. It all comes back to self-awareness and being adaptable.
Right. It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all path.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving from individual monks, did the devatās ever comment on the whole community, the Sangha, like holding up ideals or pointing out when the group was slipping?
Oh, yes, they had a view on the collective, too. In the Sambahula Sutta, one devatā sounds almost wistful. Many monks had left after the rainy season retreat, and this devatā misses their Sittakatabahu Sutta, their wise, learned conversations.
Ah, they missed the good chats.
Sort of. But then another devatā jumps in and explains, well, that's their nature. Migavya asoga karino aniketa viharanti bhikavoti. They live without attachment, like deer wandering homeless.
So reinforcing the ideal, the wandering ascetic.
Exactly, setting that high standard of non-attachment.
But it sounds like sometimes, well, the reality didn't quite match the ideal. Was there criticism too?
Oh, definitely. And some of it was incredibly sharp. The Pakatindriya Sutta contains this really stinging critique. It describes many monks at the time as, Uddhattata unnetakapa mukhara vikanasatino asampajana asamahita vibanta chitta pakatindriya.
Okay. Unpack that for us.
It translates roughly to restless, arrogant, fickle, talkative, scattered in speech, forgetful, lacking clear comprehension, unconcentrated, mind all over the place, and basically senses totally uncontrolled.
Yikes. That's not flattering.
Not at all. And it's contrasted directly with the earlier generation of disciples who were supposedly anicca not fussed about alms, food, or lodging, and who lokatanyatanyatla dukkasantata sutta knew impermanence and made an end to suffering. Big difference.
So a real sense of decline or laxity creeping in.
That's the critique, yeah. And the devatā gets even more specific, almost sarcastic. It says, these monks are duposekatva atana gamachikavya, making themselves hard to support, like demanding village chiefs. Bhutva bhutva nipajanti paragaresumuchita, gorging themselves on food and then just sleeping it off in lay supporters' houses, totally infatuated with comfort.
Oof. That's brutal, like a divine performance review gone bad.
It really is. And the warning attached is chilling. Monks like that are apavitanate yatapatatevate, abandoned, helpless, basically like hungry ghosts.
Wow. But there was praise too, right, for those sticking to the path.
Yes, absolutely. The devatā ends that critique by saying, Ya apamata viharanti namote sakaramahanti, I pay homage to those who live diligently. There's still respect for genuine effort. So these community-focused stories give us this amazing snapshot, The ideal is non-attachment, wandering free like a deer. But the reality, human struggles with discipline, comfort, complacency. The devatās are like guardians of the Dhamma itself, constantly reminding everyone how crucial diligence is. You can't coast.
No coasting allowed. Okay, that really underscores the rigor. Now, to kind of bring it all together, let's look at one final story. You said this one is uniquely powerful, really showing the peak of renunciation. This involves Venerable Anuruddha, right?
That's right, the Anuruddha Sutta. This one's different. Anuruddha is visited by Jalini. Now, Jalini wasn't just any devatā. She was his former celestial companion from a past life when he lived in a heavenly realm.
Okay, so a connection from a past divine life. That's complicated.
Exactly. And she comes to him with this incredibly tempting offer, not earthly pleasures, but heavenly ones. She says basically, hey, remember how great it was up there? Set your mind back there where you used to live, among the Tavatisa gods. Tata chitta pachitehi tata dusita pure, where you had all desires fulfilled, surrounded by gorgeous celestial nymphs, honored, celebrated. Sabakamasa midisu purakato parivuto devakanyahi sobasiti.
Wow. So forget earthly temptations. This is the ultimate upgrade offer. Go back to heaven.
Precisely. And this is what makes Anuruddha's response so incredibly powerful and different from the other monks who just needed a nudge about, sleeping too much or thinking about dinner.
How did he respond?
His rejection is absolute and rooted in the deepest understanding. He tells her essentially, you foolish girl, you don't understand the words of the arahants, those who are fully liberated. That's Babale, Vijanasi Yata Arahadavako. He says, Anikasabe Saukaro Upadavaya Tamino. All conditioned things are impermanent, they arise and pass away. Upajitva Nirujanti Tisarufupasama Sukho. Having arisen, they cease, their calming is bliss.
So even heaven is impermanent, subject to change.
Exactly. That's the core insight. Even heavenly bliss isn't the final goal because it's still part of the cycle. And then he delivers the final word, Natidani punavaso dabakasm jalini. There's no more living again for me now in the realm of gods, Jalini. Viki sajatasaro natidani punavavati. The cycle of rebirth is destroyed. There's no more becoming.
Wow. Complete release. No going back, not even to paradise.
It's the ultimate statement of liberation. While other monks were being corrected for earthly or subtle attachments, Anuruddha demonstrates detachment from all realms, even heavenly ones. True freedom means letting go of everything conditioned, however pleasant.
That really is a powerful contrast. Okay, so wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway from all these forest encounters? What does it all mean? It seems like these ancient stories with these, unseen guides, they offer lessons that still resonate, right?
Yeah.
About being human, about finding peace. The devotas were like this external conscience, maybe, a guiding voice reminding the monks about their vows, the path, the pitfalls of getting lazy or distracted.
Yeah, I think if you connect it to the bigger picture, these narratives really hammer home that spiritual growth isn't a one-time thing. It takes constant effort. And the things that trip us up are often really subtle, a passing thought, a tiny habit, getting too comfortable. Deep self-awareness is just crucial. And it shows that, important insights, vital guidance can genuinely come from places you don't expect. Even, well, the spirits of the forest.
Right. And what really strikes me is, okay, we're probably not monks in an ancient forest getting advice from devatās. But the struggles are so familiar, aren't they? Distraction, wanting things, getting complacent, misunderstanding others. That's just human life.
Absolutely universal.
We all kind of need those reminders, those nudges to stay aligned with whatever our deeper goals or values are. So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is this. What's your unseen guardian? What inner voice or maybe even an external hint might be trying to nudge you right now, trying to stir you towards a bit more awareness, maybe a bit more detachment from something? How can you tune into those subtle signals, those whispers towards your own deeper truth, wherever they might come from?